we have two roots that we're launching Precion in, right? We have the breeding trait and then the biotech trait.
Correct.
You did your homework.
This is where a sister would pat her brother on the back.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
right.
you very much.
Just laying it in for that one. Yeah. Welcome to Around the Farm, the podcast about all things ag. I'm your host, Tom Verseman, and with me
is Andy Folta.
Andy, good to see you.
It's good to see you, Tom.
Yeah.
And we have some people that are joining us this week.
We do. And it's, with the holidays around the quarter, it's exciting. You get family together, and we wanted to bring our family in today.
Yeah. So we've brought both of our siblings, but I hear that there is another verse.
There is. I do. Mark, I just wanted to say hi. You weren't here today, but hey, I got my favorite middle brother with me. So,
and I have my older sister with me as well. But yeah, to your point, around the holidays, people always come together, and you might get to see people that you don't normally in your family.
That's
and so
right.
We wanted to bring some people in to kind of talk about how we all work in the ag industry, either directly or in an ag industry adjacent role, and how that impacts farmers.
100%. So why don't we start with your sister, Andy?
Right.
Do some introductions here, and we'll set the stage, and we'll have a good dialogue today.
So, Michelle, you are my older sister. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do?
Yeah. So I'm Michelle Valentine. I am, first Andy's sister. I'm also a scientist at Bayer. I work in our research organization in Chesterfield, Missouri. I'm in the plant biotech group, and within that, I am on the plant transformation team. So plant transformation is the science of putting traits into plants. So basically, I'm on the team that puts all of the biotech traits into all of the row crops.
That's awesome.
I got an ag ed degree.
Yeah. I was going to say, I got a 4-year degree too.
Yeah,
all from Mizzou, though.
Yeah, all four of us Mizzou grads.
Yeah.
I got an ag ed degree. Michelle and I started the same year at Monsanto at the time with different degrees, different paths through the company. You got a degree in...
Yeah, so before coming to Monsanto Bayer, I got both a bachelor's and a PhD from Mizzou, both in plant science.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. I didn't get the second
Do you
one.
have to call your sister Dr. Valentine?
No, I don't have
Please
to.
don't.
Yeah.
Please don't.
No. I call her Michelle.
Okay,
I call
just
her
making
Michelle.
sure. Just making sure.
Yes. What about your brother?
James, why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about what you do? I know it's I actually find it really interesting from the equipment side, but go ahead and share your role and the company you're working for, which is not Bayer.
Yes.
But would love to just learn a little bit more and share with our viewers.
Yeah, so I work with SKF Lincoln, office is right up by the airport here in St. Louis. Really focused on lubrication and automatic lubrication for equipment, construction equipment, agriculture equipment, you name it. My job is specifically product manager over all of the agriculture products that we have in our portfolio. So I was at Farm Progress this year. We had a big booth. Really, really good turnout at that show this year. So agriculture is a new industry for us, and it's something that we're really focused on going into 2025 and beyond. So I graduated from Mizzou as well. I started with sport management degree, so completely off the reservation here, and have transitioned through a couple companies to end where I am today. So I'm really excited to be here and have a conversation with you guys.
So how does, real quick, because it still fascinates me how you work with different companies within ag, how does, at the end of the day, the lubrication piece impact the farmer, the end user of their tractor, combine, whatever piece of equipment it is?
Well, your most common issue that farmers have with their equipment is downtime, right?
That's right.
So a lot of these farmers today are getting further and further involved with technology. So we are creating equipment essentially to give them time back in the day where they used to be going out manually lubricating their equipment. Now you can hop on your phone with a Bluetooth app and run a lubrication cycle from remotely. So we're giving them time back in the day and also giving them less downtime with their equipment. The more you lubricate the equipment properly, the better it's going to run long term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like an opportunity. Bluetooth app. I didn't know you had an application.
Yeah.
Maybe a FieldView API future opportunity.
It could
See
be.
where I'm going?
Yeah, huge opportunity. I remember, so Michelle and I grew up in a rural community, an agricultural family, and I remember greasing brush hogs all the time, spending a lot of time going out there and lubricating. If I could do that with an app, that'd be excellent.
cool.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Michelle, thinking about, what you talked about being in the transformation group and putting traits into plants, what does that look like, to a farmer or someone out in the market? What, Can you unpack a little bit more about what that looks like and what that turns into as a product?
We're the team that puts the traits into plants. So kind of like, what trait do we want to put? Those are other teams, kind of how do we test it? But ultimately, we're like the factory that puts the traits into the plants. I think the interesting thing about what I do is that pretty much every plant we make is a good 10 to 15 years out from becoming something in a farmer's hands. So we do a lot of like trying to predict what the climate situation, what's the pest situation in the future, to have the best traits possible for the farmer in the future.
So we talked about, all going to Mizzou. I was going to be an ag teacher. I didn't get a doctorate. I got a degree in ag education. Thought I was going to be an ag teacher, but I did an internship for Monsanto. And my internship project, aside from being on a sales team, was working on the launch of drought guard hybrids, which I think would be a trait, right?
Correct.
Okay. You see, we're learning.
You got it. Yeah.
We're learning. But it was, one of those things that I guess the field or the market said was a need, and then your team went in and added a trait or turned on a trait.
For the most part, we're adding traits. So traits would be things like insect tolerance or herbicide tolerance or yield traits or drought traits. So like really specific changes to the plant to make them better. And so, yeah, it is a lot of like feedback from, hey, the farmer sees something, and then we try to work on a trait to address that. But just with all of the time needed for testing and making the seed, it takes a while.
Yeah.
So we do have to do kind of some predictions and look into the future.
And I guess top of everyone's mind would be Preceon, and that's
right.
why
Absolutely.
That's why we have. I don't know if we want to talk about that, right now, but we have two roots that we're launching Preceon in, right? We have the breeding trait and then the biotech trait.
Correct.
You did your homework.
This is where a sister would pat her brother on the back.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
right.
you very much.
Just leaning in for that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Michelle, that's really, really interesting about Preceon and how we're moving forward with our new products and as we're talking about traits. But a big part of that too is machinery. And James, I know that's something you've really been focusing on, as you said in the intro. And 2025 sounds like it's going to be exciting for y'all. Why don't you elaborate a little bit on that and how maybe that's going to impact the farmer, and share your thoughts with our viewers?
Yeah, and one thing we talked about just a few minutes ago was really taking those traits but listening to the farmer, right? What are they asking for?
That's right.
Drought resistant, insect resistant. So something that I think we are doing really well is listening to our customers, in this case, farmers. What is going to make their life easier when they're out there on the farm dealing with equipment, right? Because equipment is going to be down. It's just the way the world works. So how can we make that better? Whether you're using a round baler, a square baler, a combine, or a tractor, we have systems designed and spec'd through the OEMs for every type of equipment that you could imagine. So it's really an awesome opportunity. And as I was saying earlier, we're getting more and more into the technology side, right? So connected smart devices, cellular, really whatever the farmer is asking for, we are going down that path, exploring how to make that possible for them going forward. So really we're focused on listening to the customer need and driving that to market with a viable product that will benefit them.
It's interesting if you take a step back. Their jobs are really similar.
Yeah.
You're inserting genes.
I'm not a doctor. Though.
You're
not even close.
Not a doctor, but you're inserting genes, right, into a product, but you're inserting lubricant into a product. So there's some apples and oranges there.
Well, and more than that, they're delivering on what the customer is really wanting at the end of the day, and building a solution for that. And you talked about technology. I'm interested, back on the Bayer side and in research and production and R&D. I mean, we work in FieldView, data and everything. How do you all use the data that is either coming, organically through our own systems, or that we have access to through the, what's out there from other companies and from the government? How do you all utilize data to create a better product for customers?
Yeah, so I guess I should say first and foremost, I do biology, so I know a lot about how plants work. I'm definitely not an expert on data science, but I do know we're doing a lot of like artificial intelligence to try to design the best traits or predict what traits will be necessary in the future. So I know there's, entire teams of scientists who work on that, but I'm more on the hands-on making the plant.
Speaking of hands-on and new technology, so whenever I was first an intern for Monsanto, or actually even before that, when we were in high school, we all kind of grew up in the St. Louis area. So we went and were able to tour the old Monsanto office. It's now the Bayer office where you work. I remember one really cool piece of technology or equipment, bringing a connection back here, was the gene gun. Do we still use the gene gun when we're creating
On
plants?
occasion.
On occasion?
So
On occasion.
I should say, I use the gene gun
Ooh.
sometimes. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, gene gun is kind of how we made the original biotech traits. The limitation of it is it's random. So we have a lot more precise technologies. We're getting into like gene editing technology, which is just super precise. I mean, laser precise. We can make changes that are exactly what we want. And so the gene gun is really cool, but we have the new things we have available to us now are amazing.
May not be as flashy, but much more efficient so that we can bring out new things out to the farmer.
That's right. Yeah. James, I think that was a good question too, and I know you touched on it a bit, but data science, what you're learning so far, and I know, again, this is a newer market for SKF, but how do you look at the data that maybe some of your customers or OEMs are gathering, and how does that impact 2025 and beyond?
I wish I knew more about it too, right? It's a newer industry for SKF to be in, and we are capturing a lot of data via our Bluetooth app, and typically we're focusing on errors, right, or faults. When a system goes into fault, why is it going into fault? Most times it's because the people forgot to fill up their reservoir with grease or oil. So usually it's pretty simple, and there's really not much data there. But when you do have an issue, it logs it. We have record of it, and we can go back and say, why did this fail? And I think leading into 2025, we can take that data and manufacture a more superior, better pump that will benefit the customer long term. So it's just using that data in the correct way, but also providing that data to the farmer himself, right? So if he goes out of town, or he or she goes out of town for a month at a time, and they come back and they don't, why isn't the system running? Why is this tractor down? You have that data there. You don't just assume, oh, well, it's, this must have happened. So you're putting the data in their hands, which I think is incredible. And we also have it for our own manufacturing side to make better products in the future.
Very cool. Very cool. No, and I think great segue into what FieldView does too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, putting the data in the customer's hands, having everything at your fingertips, Drive 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, something for you to definitely plug on there. Not that we've never talked about it on our show before, but
right. But we've seen the excitement that farmers have whenever we bring out new hardware. I'm very interested in how this better access to data can make both farmers better decision makers, but also, and not just speaking on FieldView, but all the different systems that we have, and that the importance of data science back within Bayer Crop Science helps us make better decisions, because there's a wealth of data out there.
That's right.
And then how do we, take it and utilize it to make the most efficient products for the customer is, definitely top of mind. And I'm glad that we're helping lead the industry in that.
So why don't we talk a little bit to just, James, I know you've had a couple different roles with other companies. What kind of led you to SKF?
So I started my career in sales.
Yep.
Again, graduated sport management degree from Mizzou. Didn't really know where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. Started my career in sales. Had an amazing career so far. And I really wanted to switch that focus out of sales and get into more product focused. So that's when I transitioned into helping the customer. It's still sales in a lot of ways, because I have relationships with customers.
Yeah.
I'm just not paid based off a sales quota or anything. But I get to travel, I get to work with customers, I get to work and build internal relationships with our engineering team and the guys actually designing the product.
Yeah.
And I get to listen to the customer and take those customer asks and wants and work with the engineering team to make them happen.
So it's interesting. You're one of those people who started in your degree in one space and then kind of changed where you went. I think both of us, I don't know what your degree was in.
My degree, golly. Well, my degree is in general studies, actually.
Oh,
One of those.
Very focused.
Very focused. Couldn't make a decision, right?
Yeah.
So, and, it was one of those things where I got my degree and I didn't quite know what I was going to do either. And I started with Monsanto on the Roundup Ready Extend launch team.
Yeah.
And that was my foot in the door. And again, similar to what James was saying, found a passion for working with the customer and finding solutions for them. And I mean, we actually didn't have really any agriculture background.
Yeah.
And it was just something that I truly enjoyed after I started with Monsanto.
Yeah.
Now Bayer.
It's amazing. All roads seem to lead to agriculture.
All
And I got a
roads lead
degree
to
in ag
agriculture.
education, which I'm not teaching, but I kind of look at it still as being, educating about agriculture and Bayer's products. But Michelle, so you're like probably the one who didn't change the most because you went for science. But what made you want to work with plants or be in the science world?
So when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. And I mean, I was serious. Like
Andy just wanted to host a podcast.
I will say, I actually wanted to be an astronaut as well.
Did you really? Oh,
But
really? Okay.
believe it or not, they don't. Michelle, I guess yours actually makes more sense because you're a doctorate in plant science. They don't need.
I've applied.
Yeah.
If NASA's listening.
If NASA's listening, well,
If NASA's out there,
I think Michelle's
listening.
chances are better because they don't need ag educators. Her chances were better. But yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to be an astronaut. I mean, I had a plan. I was going to go to University of Missouri-Rolla. I was going to get a degree in aeronautical engineering. I was going to get a job at an aerospace company, and I was going to go to NASA. And that was my plan most of the way through high school. And then I think it was my junior year of high school, we got to tour Monsanto, Chesterfield, through FFA.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about like most influential 2 hours of my life, I was blown away by the research they were doing there. And I decided, as cool as it is to like engineer robots that go land on other planets, like the idea of engineering living, breathing plants, that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so then changed my whole plan, went to University of Missouri, Columbia. And
Way more fun.
Way more
fun.
fun.
Way more
MIZ.
ZOU.
I guess half my life later, I still like my decision. So
Yeah.
I think I am kind of in the minority of people that never changed.
Never changed the
their
degree.
plan.
I think they say the majority of people change their degree in college like 2 or 3 times. So
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, no question.
both former Troy FFA members and Troy FFA presidents. So shout out
There we go.
Troy Moe, Troy FFA.
Troy Moe. Yeah. I wish we had a cooler shout out than Chesterfield, Missouri, but hey, why not?
Yeah.
But no, Michelle, there is the chance you could figure something out for Mars.
Yeah, I
Plants
mean,
on Mars, who knows?
wherever people go, we got to have plants.
Got to have
So,
plants. That's great. What'd you want to be when you grew up? Did you ever have a thought? Like what
No.
you were going to do?
I really didn't. And I mean, I didn't even know when I was in college what I
right.
wanted to do. So, no, professional athlete.
Pro athlete.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
that's right.
who
Baseball
doesn't?
player.
Right. Who doesn't?
Baseball player.
Yeah.
Or golf for baseball or golf?
Golf baseball when I was playing baseball.
When you were
yeah.
playing baseball, yeah.
What about you?
As far as sports?
No, but what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Wow, what I want to be when I grew up, man. That's a loaded question. I honestly, really what I wanted to do, and in case viewers are watching, I really wanted to work for Apple.
Yeah.
That's actually what drove me to FieldView.
Yeah.
To be dead honest, is I wanted to move out west and go to Silicon Valley. And I started with Monsanto and was still trying to figure it out. And I grew to love it. And then we bought Climate in 2014.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my end to fill that dream. So in a weird way, Climate did fill the dream for me. But I really wanted to do that West Coast tech company. And I was lucky enough to get to do it with Bayer Monsanto.
Yeah, you could do the best of both and have that Western, startup flair, but still be based out of St. Louis,
right.
which was the beauty of Monsanto.
That was the beauty.
Bayer. And I guess I wanted to be an ag teacher, but
Your whole life, you woke up.
I mean, honestly, like our dad got an ag ed degree
Okay.
and taught for 1 year before he went to work for GM. Our mom was a teacher. We had a really strong ag department back home, and I wanted to be an ag teacher. And then I did an internship for Monsanto, not a tour, but I did an internship. And I was like, man, this is a lot more fun because I get to work with farmers. And I still look at it. And if you look in Bayer, there are a bunch of people that got ag ed degrees.
100%.
And I feel like we're still doing the same thing, just at a different, age range or occupation place.
Well, that's right. And like even for both of your guys' jobs too, the education piece, I'm sure, is extremely important when you think about it.
Absolutely.
And I think exposing, to both sides about what goes into enabling things like the equipment that farmers pay a ton of money for, and also the seed they're putting in the ground, educating around both of those is, really important because it's probably not something that people think about or get much exposure to.
So, Michelle, I got a question for you. You said, I think it was 10 or 15 years before a product comes to life. You've been with the company about 8 years. Have you been lucky enough to maybe, when you came in, see something that you've worked on really go into the ground yet, or kind of maybe walk us through that?
Yeah, I'd say like probably the biggest, most rewarding project I've been part of is the short corn Precion. So I've helped in both the breeding trait and the biotech trait, doing some of the transformation, but also seeing some of the field testing. And so getting to jump in on that kind of early, but while it's also in progress, has been really exciting. But
Can we double click on Preceon? Because I had the question from a customer, a farmer, about what's like. We keep talking about the breeding trait and then the biotech trait, and they're like, "What's the difference?"
So the breeding trait, I guess if anybody's familiar with like grain sorghum or Milo or whatever you call it, it's the same gene that makes Milo short.
Yeah.
Is a very similar gene that we have in corn for making the corn shorter. It doesn't have a lot of the same challenges of escape or, the random tall plants. We don't see that so much in corn. But yeah, the breeding trait it's a natural trait. It does have some limitations as far as geography. So we brought in the biotech trait to really, the biotech trait is extremely durable. It works all the time.
The precision. Yeah. And that's, I think, like the marketing thing that at least I've been, coached on and have been talking around is that with the breeding trait, it's you take a short parent and a short parent and put them together and you get a short plant. One of the limitations there is that it will sometimes decrease the distance between the ear and the ground so that harvest can become challenging, because if you put it on the wrong acre, the ear might get too low so that a combine can't come in and pick it up. But the biotech trait addresses that.
Yes.
That makes sense considering my baby brother is 6'5" and James is 6'2" and 5'10" on a good day. So I didn't really get the height gene there.
Yeah. We need the gene edited
the biotech tall gene.
Yes.
That's right.
5'10" still has a size 12 shoe somehow.
Well, hey, that's genetics,
That's
right?
just genetics.
That's
right.
genetics. So like Michelle and I are obviously different in our whatever you want to
Most
call
ways.
it. In intelligence level and then, career pursuit. But an interesting thing, or the thing I always come back to thinking about genetics is genetically, we are the closest thing to each other on the planet, which is just wild to me.
A little creepy.
Creepy.
That's a lot if you think about it.
I know.
Wow,
I know.
That's a lot to really take in.
Yeah. But that's why I think, whether it's in genetics or in product management, combing through all of that to be able to bring the best product. Not going to say one of us is better than the other, but sifting through all the things we have in genetics to be able to create a really robust product, or sifting through all the things that you all hear from customers and have access to be able to develop a really amazing product. It's
fascinating.
It's admirable.
It is. Well, hey, we do have a second part for today's podcast. And this is new for everybody too, and I'm really excited for you both to be our first guests to participate in our new game show called Farmly Feud. So Andy, tell us how this is going to work.
Yeah. So with this being a new game and we have some really esteemed guests, we're going to allow the guests, the siblings, to be the ones that are answering.
I like this.
Yes. So Tom and I are going to ask a question, give a prompt. You both have a buzzer. Whoever's first gets to try to answer. There are the top 3 answers from farmers. We've polled farmers across the country.
Across all of the U.S.
I mean, multiple states means across the country.
That's right. There you go.
We've asked them their feedback. If one of the answers you give is in the top 3, that family's team, who you all are representing, get the points. If not, the other person gets a chance to answer, just like a lot of popular game shows that are on TV.
There we go. So the Fultas versus the Versemans.
Yes, versus the Versemans.
Versus the Versemans. And you got the PhD on your side.
Correct.
Yeah, advantage
them. if we were taking odds and betting, I'm not going to tell you where to put your money, but I feel confident.
That's right. Well, you can't answer the questions.
That's right. Okay.
All right. First question. What do farmers view as a top risk to profits in the next 2 years?
I know the answer.
Michelle.
Weather?
Show me weather. You're on the board.
Hot dog. Fulton's taking early lead.
The other top 2 answers are input prices and commodity prices, but Michelle, weather, you take the lead. Fulta's 1, Verseman's 0.
Yeah. And it honestly makes sense. You think about things that are top of mind for everybody is the costs, whether it's just in farming or in life in general. And when I think about FieldView specifically, one of our number 1 utilized features happens to be our weather capabilities.
It is.
So good answer there, sis. All right, question number 2. Are we ready with our buzzers to get in there? Which FieldView software feature are most used in the platform?
Oh, I got this.
I'm going to go based off what you just said and say Weather features.
Show me weather. Yeah, okay.
Weather data. Hey, tie game. Tie game.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't know that was the next question. That's bad on me for not looking at what the questions were.
Well, thanks for the hint there, Fulta, to tie us up. All right, question 3. What factors are driving regenerative agriculture the most?
Oh, I got this.
Increased population.
Increased population. Show me population. Oh, that really hurts, James. I don't even know what to say there. Michelle, chance to steal.
Maybe the yield benefit?
Okay.
Show me yield benefits.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. That's what that PhD pays
That's
for.
right.
there.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
So yield benefits at 77%, lower production costs at 58%, and additional revenue at 44%.
All of those things really, I know yield is top of mind for farmers, but if you look
100%,
at kind of going down the ladder chain, I mean, lower production costs, added yield, all of that leads into
Which,
additional revenue.
if you think about it, population does kind of fall into, some cost here.
Yeah.
Because, I think that what he was getting after was lower
Yeah.
production costs. So
It wasn't the right answer.
it wasn't the right answer, but I think,
I'm not the PhD.
That's
Regenerative ag that's telling me let's grow more crop. We need to grow more crop because there's more people on the planet.
Oh, just a man of the people.
Health for all.
With
100%.
better yield.
Help
better
with
yield.
Better yield.
All right. Next, which sustainability practices are farmers adopting the most?
Oh, I got this.
Sorry, his is the one that actually spoke up first.
Can you repeat the question?
Which sustainability practices are farmers adopting the most?
Gosh, I have no idea.
Give him the X. The time went up, right?
And
Reduced tillage?
show me reduced tillage. Hey, all right. Good job, Michelle. We're at a really good lead. We're on the last question. We're leading 3-1. And for our last question, we're looking for one answer, one very specific answer. And in the spirit of this being the last question, it's worth double. So it's worth 2 points.
Double. Okay. So a chance to tie, a chance to really walk away victorious.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 5. For the tie or for the win, what precision ag hardware was launched by Bayer in 2024?
I know the answer.
Michelle.
The puck.
Show me puck. Ooh.
This might be a technicality.
That one hurts.
It does.
James, a chance to steal.
I've been in several car rides with you talking about it. It's got to be FieldView Drive 2.0.
2.0 FieldView Drive. Show me.
Okay.
All right.
That's-
Tie
yep,
game.
Yep.
Gotta love that for bringing the families together. No feelings get hurt.
Spirit of the holidays.
Spirit of the holidays. Want to keep
Making
everyone
sure
going.
everyone has a good experience. their
That's
first time
right.
on.
That's
Yeah.
right. Everyone, hey, thanks for playing and participating.
Yeah.
I know one of our producers has been dying to do this. So leave a comment below if you really enjoyed this, and we'll do this again. Maybe we can do a spinoff and actually, do this as a podcast itself.
That could be fun.
That could be
I like that idea. We'll see where
that goes.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to see us do a spinoff of Farmly Feud, leave a comment down below. Well, hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. This has been Around the Farm, the podcast about all things ag. If it's your first time watching, please like or subscribe to our podcast. And hey, think about your family as we go into the holidays, too.
Yeah. Great point, Tom. It's been great having both of our siblings here, and really appreciate the insights that you all brought us. And like Tom said, like and subscribe, and get us wherever you get your podcasts. Again, this is Around the Farm, the podcast about all things ag. And next time we'll see you around the farm.